And so whatever it is if you're going to get drunk with something, you're going to have to forget about massive parts of your life. Like it or not. You can have it all. You can have the family and the social life and still be top in your field. Bullshit. Find me that person. Elon Musk. Want to be Elon Musk? Yeah, I want to have his power and his influence and his money. Do you want his family? I'm sorry. Do you want his families? With like 7, 8 kids, he has relationships with none of them. Oh, but he can find a new woman all the time. Yeah, he's gonna have to. That's what he has to do. That's why he's always going from relationship to relationship to relationship, and he can't build anything meaningful in his personal life. You think that guy can tweet as much as he does and run the companies that he runs and still have time for friends and family? There are people who if you absolutely are close to your family and you love your family and you're always with them, you're not gonna be top in your field then. So what are you getting drunk with in that case? You're getting drunk with your family. Get drunk with your relationships. Or get drunk with your career. Get drunk with your passion. And when you do that, you're gonna have to exclude everything else because, well, why not? I'll say it. Some of you already understand this. If you have family members or friends who are drunk, literally, you understand that they're largely doing that to the exclusion of family and friends because it drives family and friends away. It destroys relationships. It ruins things. And your passions are going to do that if you do them to the extreme. If you're gonna commit yourself to the sport, that means you're gonna be missing family gatherings. That means you're gonna be missing parties. You're gonna commit yourself to school to that extreme, that means you're gonna be sacrificing time with people. You can't have it all. You know the phrase, you can nerd out on writing if you have a job and you're committing to getting a promotion. Whatever the job is, do you go in there and just work at the job and just say, I'm gonna show up every day, I'm gonna punch in and work hard and then punch out and get a promotion? Yeah, I suppose so. But man, you better hope there's not somebody else at the job who's getting drunk with it because they're gonna nerd out on it. They're gonna come in, they're not just gonna show up and punch in and punch out. I'm thinking of a friend of mine who actually, he went here a while ago. I think he's like 31 years old now. He's back, but he only came here for like half of a semester. I know, right? He only came here for like half of a semester. He got kicked out because him and some friends were over by the handball courts and one of them had a knife and they were like throwing the knife against the wall. And then he went over and he picked up the knife just as an AP was coming around the corner and they found him with the knife. And Chili's he's no snitch, so he's just, you'd ask him whose knife is it? He didn't say, so they kicked him out for it. He never came back. He just said, well, I guess school is not for me. And so he's working, he got a job in construction, and he was showing up every day. He starts by just picking up, cleaning up around the job site. That's it. Picking up trash, that's where most people start. So he goes around, he picks stuff up, he cleans it up, and then he starts showing up 10, 20 minutes early, half an hour early, and he goes to the foreman and he says, I want to see what you do. I want to see how this whole thing operates. And everyone there, they're giving him crap over it because they're all hourly employees. And they go, you're showing up early? You're not even getting paid for it? You're stupid. And then he got a job working in the construction, learning how to do everything. And by the time he was 27, guess what he was doing? He was a foreman at 27. If any of you know anything about construction, that's pretty young to be a foreman. And he's in charge of jobs. All those people who were telling him he was stupid because he was showing up early, not getting paid for it, staying late, not getting paid for it, all of that pays off. The guy makes a lot of money now. He's got a wife, he's got a kid now. Everything's going well for him. Why? Because he nerded out on the job. He didn't just show up and he wasn't just the best worker between 9 and 5 or whatever his hours were. He would go home and he would think about construction. He would go early, learn about it. He would go home, think about what he learned. And if you're showing up and you're working 9 to 5 and you're working hard, good. That is good because you're doing your job. But if you want to have your job, perfect. You're doing exceptionally well. But if you want more than your job, you have to do more than your job. You have to do more than that. It isn't just sipping from your job. It's not even just like having a few glasses of your job. It's about more than that. It's about getting drunk on your job, finding your passion. It's about getting drunk on the writing. How do you become a better writer? Yeah, you read. How much? All of it. Everything you can. What do you read? Yeah. Yeah. You read poetry? Sure. Do you read novels? Sure. Do you read travel magazines? Yes. Do you read chemistry? Yes, because everybody writes differently, and you won't have access to the ability to write in those ways unless you learn more about it. You nerd out on it, whatever it is. If you're an athlete, yeah, show up to practice, show up to the weight room. And you might be that person who's like, man, I'm so good, I show up an hour early. How do I say it in a way that will make sense and yet not? That might be good here. Okay? If anybody wants to play college sports, I played baseball at UCLA. I played Division I baseball. Going from high school to a community college like I did is a massive difference. Going from there to Division I baseball, forget about it. It's like you say, oh, I showed up early for batting practice. I showed up an hour early for batting practice. And if you show up early for batting practice, guess what you find? 7 or 8 other people who've been there an hour already. It's a different level, man. It's a different level. And then now, if you go from that and you say, that's right, in college, I showed up early for batting practice every day for 2 hours. I have 2 hours early for batting practice every day. And then you get into you want to go play professional baseball, you want to play in the major leagues. What do you find? You find a guy like Tony Gwynn, who was there hours early, hitting balls off of a tee. Not even taking batting practice, just hitting a ball off of a tee. Do you think that guy just was, sipped from baseball? Do you think professional athletes just sip from what they do? Because that's what it takes to get to that level, if you want to get to that level. That's not so bad. Because if you love what you do, you're going to wear yourself out doing it. People who love what they do, they wear themselves out doing it. If you hate your job and it's 9 to 5, you'll get there around 9-ish. And what's the first thing you do when you get there? You clock in, and then you go to the bathroom. And then you try to space out your bathroom breaks throughout the day because you want to try to shorten the misery of the job that you're doing because you hate it so much. And then when you're doing it, your mind is elsewhere. It's not on the job because you'd rather be someplace else. Your mind is going to where you would rather be, or at least where you imagine you would rather be. And then that's where your head goes, and all of a sudden the time passes, and you're like, oh wow, how'd all that time go by? And meanwhile, if there's somebody else on the job site who's nerding out on it, maybe not because they love the job, although that would be better, but because they love the opportunity that the job maybe can provide for you. And then you can see those stepping stones. It takes some imagination to do that. It's easy to sit there and say, this job sucks. I have would it fill in the blank, whatever job you have, you think it sucks. And it might. And it might be teaching you some really important things. It might be teaching you that the job sucks and you don't want to do it for the rest of your life. It might be teaching you a skill of being able to deal with customers, deal with people, to be able to keep your head about you when everything is going crazy. I have a friend who has a daughter. She's in school, but she's home for the summer. She's an indoor kitty. You know what I mean by that? Like she was raised and she's kind of sheltered. She's not out. If you guys have I have an indoor cat, and if your indoor cat goes outside and it gets out and you're terrified, right? You're scared about it. You're worried. Like, oh shit, that cat's not ready for the outdoors. Sometimes the cat will come home and you're like, oh my god, the cat's home. And maybe the cat's a little scratched up. You guys ass kicked out there because he encountered an outdoor cat. I have an indoor kitty. Theodore is he's a good boy. He's a sweet boy. He's not a fighter. He stands there at the window and he looks outside and there's like a little lizard that goes by and he's like starts chattering at the lizard. And I tell him, dude, that lizard would kick your ass, Theo. You can't go outside. I tell him, you see the hose? There's a hose on my grass. I do. The hose will kick your ass, Theo. And he knows this. But he's a strong boy. He's not chunky, okay? He's just strong. And sometimes he falls through the window because he's so strong. And when that happens, I find him in one of two places. He's either hiding in the corner of my laundry room because he's terrified, or he's at my front door just going nuts trying to get back inside because he knows he's an indoor kitty. So anyway, my friend's daughter is an indoor kitty. And she goes to college, but she's home for the summer. And when she's in college, she works a job, not a lot of, not super busy. And now she works a job at a place that the other night got extremely busy. Like all of a sudden it was just like this massive rush. And you have like all these customers who are being, some who are nice, and then some who are mean. And when you're in that situation, you start to learn a lot. How do you interact with people when you're under a lot of stress and you have these customers? Where's my food? Where's my... And then you also learn some customers who are like, I get it, you're busy. When you get a chance, I'd appreciate it. You're like, wow. And you learn how to manage those two extremes. And it's not something that you could learn any other way. You have to be under that stress, under that pressure, in those scenarios, at those situations, to be able to rise up like that. So it takes experience. So how do you get good in that kind of environment? Lots of experience. How do you get good in that environment? Lots of experience. Lots of experience. And yes, lots of experience. And the proper experience. I hate saying it, but especially it is true in a lot of ways. How hard is it to get really good grades right now? I guess it depends on how much homework you get, right? The more homework, the easier it is. The more homework, the harder ChatGPT works. Yeah. And the more in-class stuff. Yeah. Problem is, it doesn't solve the real problems of life. And it isn't about, can you get the right answer on this math test? The question is, can you figure out how to do that? Can you commit yourself to being able to persevere? Because if you're that person who takes the easy way, what do you get good at? You get good at taking the easy way. I love finding people like you in competition against me. Man. That's one of the things I like about I teach jiu-jitsu and I teach boxing and Muay Thai. And I compete in these things. And man, I love it when I come across people who take those easy ways in their training. Because when you get on the mat, all that bullshit that you talk about, oh yeah, I train this, I do that. No, we're gonna find out what you really are good at. And you've got whatever it is, 10 minutes on the mat, 4-minute rounds, whatever it is, we're gonna find out how much you've nerded out and how good you really are. And you can't ChatGPT your way through that shit, man. We're gonna find out. And here's what you oftentimes find, by the way. You have a fight scheduled, and all of a sudden the person you're supposed to fight, you find out like a week before got hurt in training. Did they get hurt? Nah, they just realized, I'm not gonna be able to ChatGPT my way through this shit. I've got friends and family coming to watch. Ow! Man, my elbow hurts. Well, then why are you limping? That's how much it hurts. It went all the way down to my knee, okay? And it's a hard thing, man, because you don't see those things immediately in front of you. But it isn't about just getting the right answer. It's about being able to figure out how to get the right answer and how to deal with the stress and difficulty when you don't know the right answer. Being able to get the right answer. How do you do that? You get drunk with it. So what do you get drunk with? You tell me. Because whatever it is, it's going to have to be something that you love. Because when you're getting drunk, not you guys, of course, but people you know, why do they get drunk? Well, at least what's the stereotype of why people get drunk or high?
You want to forget about things?
You want to forget about things. And so whatever it is if you're going to get drunk with something, you're going to have to forget about massive parts of your life. Like it or not. You can have it all. You can have the family and the social life and still be top in your field. Bullshit. Find me that person. Elon Musk. You want to be Elon Musk? Yeah, I want to have his power and his influence and his money. Do you want his family? Do you want his families? What, like 7, 8 kids? He has relationships with none of them? Yeah. Oh, but he can find a new woman all the time. Yeah, he's gonna have to. That's what he has to do. That's why he's always going from relationship to relationship to relationship, and he can't build anything meaningful in his personal life. Do you think that guy can keep tweeting like a I'll stop there. Do you think that guy can tweet as much as he does and run the companies that he runs and still have time for friends and family? There are people who if you absolutely are close to your family and you love your family and you're always with them, you're not going to be top in your field then. So what are you getting drunk with in that case? You're getting drunk with your family. Get drunk with your relationships. Or get drunk with your career. Get drunk with your passions. But when you do that, you're going to have to exclude everything else because, well, why not? I'll say it. Some of you already understand this. If you have family members or friends who are drunk, literally, you understand that they're largely doing that to the exclusion of family and friends because it drives family and friends away. It destroys relationships. It ruins things. And your passions are going to do that if you do them to the extreme. If you're going to commit yourself to the sport, that means you're going to be missing family gatherings. That means you're going to be missing parties. You're going to commit yourself to school to that extreme. That means you're going to be sacrificing time with people. You can't have it all. It's almost like you might hear it once in a while. Life is suffering. You don't get to choose not to suffer, but you can choose what you're going to suffer for. So, because life is suffering, what that therefore means is you have to find something that makes the suffering worthwhile, that transcends it, so that you can look at it and say the suffering doesn't seem so much like suffering anymore. It is going to be, but it's not going to feel like it quite the same way because of that trade-off that you're getting out of it. You can see that you rise in this area where this other area suffers, but you choose it. And when you choose it, that's your life. And that's good, because suffering is life, life is suffering, and so therefore to try to avoid it is to avoid part of your life, and you don't want to do that. You want to fulfill your life. And perhaps these are the things that can help contribute to a fulfilling life. So be drunk. With what? You tell me. You can get drunk with wine? Suppose you could. A lot of people have proven that to be the case. But what comes from it? Be drunk with poetry? Maybe. Want to be poor? Okay. Be drunk with virtue? Hopefully. You can be drunk with your job, with sport, with school, with family, with daydreaming, or just dreaming in general. You tell me. But just make sure it's the thing that you want to be drunk with, because it's going to overtake your life if you do it well. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques? Happy Thursday? Something light for today?